Peace, 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 peace. Osio, shalom, salam, namaste, hotel, alafia. You hear me? Bonjour, aloha, and all that other good stuff. I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all. Radiating, vibrating, emanating, being the best illustration in what you here to demonstrate. As for me, I'm feeling good for no reason at all. Radiating, operating, being the highest vibration and frequency that I came here to be. You hear me? I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all. I just came through to share a few words. I got a few downloads. Before I begin, I want to say I appreciate y'all who donate to the channel. I appreciate y'all who hit the like button. I appreciate y'all who drop comments. Not for my sake, but for others who come across the channel and venture into the comment section, because a lot of times y'all drop things that, you know, be eye openers for others. You hear me? So I appreciate y'all for that. I know I haven't been saying it. I just been coming in, dropping what I drop, and exit, and I ain't been coming through as much as I would like to, you know. But life is expanding, you know, so forth and so on, you know. So I'm gonna touch base with us when I can. But if you come through this building and you have subscribed, ask yourself, what are you waiting for? A sign, a synchronicity, a symbol, a confirmation that make you stop and think, is this really speaking to my soul? Or I just think it is? You hear me? You know? If you visit this channel, you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? But without further ado, you know, I appreciate it all. You hear me? I want to start by asking to move forward in your best energy. What do you do? And to move forward in your best energy, what do you know? In order to use what you know to move forward in your best energy. Because for me to move forward in the best energy, I do everything I can and I use everything I know. And the reason being is because I've come to understand that every emotion is a transmission. And the emotions that we connect with is up to our choice. You know, it's up to our choice. Not what happens, but how we choose to digest, dissect, transmute, and transform what we experiencing. You know, whether that be in lower realms or higher realms, the choice is up to you, just like it is for me. And I do it, and I use all the awareness that I have to remember that. I ain't gonna say I always live to the standard. You hear me? But when I don't live to the standard, then it's up for me to catch myself in that. You hear me? And the reason that I share that is because you cannot extend anything externally until you learn to hold that space in yourself and for yourself. And for those who understand that, you also understand that's how we treat others, or that how we treat others is only a reflection of how we treat ourselves. So I'm going to say it again. You cannot extend anything externally to someone else until you learn to hold that space in yourself and for yourself. So whatever you holding within yourself, you're going to treat others from that space. Now, if you ain't operating in love, if you ain't operating in compassion, if you ain't operating with patience, or if you're not cooperating with love, if you're not cooperating with compassion, if you're not cooperating with patience, if you're not cooperating with trust, and all those other things on the higher vibratory scale of things, then you're probably dealing with yourself and others according to everything that's opposite of those words that I just used. See, because as I said, how we treat others is only a reflection of how we treat ourselves. you know. And the more I accept the recognition of that and the truth that it holds, the less personal I began to take the less personal I began to take people, words, actions, and behaviors towards me if it's not coming from a high vibrational frequency. You hear me? And I share that because it's a lot of wounded people in the world that haven't decided to face themselves because they continue to still be high behind appearance, things, images, massages, masks, materiality, so forth and so on. You know, and in that recognition, you know, I realized that because we grow older, don't mean we growing up. Because we grow older don't mean we growing up. So for whoever need to hear it, don't grow older and not grow up. Cause growing up come with growing older. But everybody not doing it. Make sure you be the one of those who are. And I share that because you gotta be careful what you entertain. You gotta be careful who you entertain. You gotta be careful what you entertain. And I said that twice for a reason, you know, because if you sit around and you sympathize and you fraternize with hurt people, they'll have you in a hurt place. And me personally, you know, I don't have the time, energy, and effort or access to sit around and sympathize and fraternize with hurt people that enjoy the hurt when I present an alternative, I present solutions, you know, to help us heal, to help them heal, as I heal myself, and I can't do it. I can't do it for you, just like you can't do it for nobody else, you know. So what I'm saying in layman terms is, if I can't help you heal, if I can't help you raise yourself up vibrationally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as a frequency being, you know, then I prefer to stay away from you and have you stay away from me in any form, shape, and manner, because it ain't gonna turn out good. It ain't gonna turn out good, you know, because I'm here for generational business, you know. I'm here about ancestor business, you know, and it's all about not only how I push forth my generational lineage, you know. If you're on the other side of these words, it's about how you pushing forth your generational lineage, you know. What generational lineage are you here to represent? You see, that's the real question. How are you pushing forth your generational lineage, and what generational lineage are you here to represent? You see, because everything we come from wasn't low vibrational, but everything we come from wasn't high vibrational neither. But as I said earlier, you know, we get to pick and choose, and transformation begins in observation, you know. And when I say transformation begins in observation, I'm not speaking on what we observe outside of ourselves more than I'm speaking to what we observe within ourselves. What do you see when you look into yourself? What do you see when you look into yourself? Are you living authentically aligned with your purpose? Or are you living inauthentically aligned with the purpose that was set for you? Are you hiding behind masks, afraid to step into the light? You know? And what's enlightening about that is most people in the dark of their light cause they ain't did no shadow work. Most people in the darkness of their light because they too concerned about what other people think of them. You know, most people living in the darkness of their light because they too caught up and trying to fit in, go along to get along. You know, and I was having a conversation with somebody a few days ago, and I shared with them the worst thing we could do is worry about or be concerned about what people think about whatever it is that we do that they don't understand. Or the worst thing we could do is be concerned about what anybody think of us or feel about us at all. Because once you do, you become a prisoner to the opinions of others. Somebody need to hear that. And I share that because in this great cosmic entanglement, we are all multidimensional beings who have traveled within many timelines of space and time to be in this present physical existence, to do some real deep and thorough inner work, soul work, you know. So what are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? Why have you chose to be here? You know, because it takes a lot to find your sovereign purpose. So these questions are important because it takes a lot to find your sovereign purpose. Then it takes everything you got to live it. You see? So it ain't gonna look the same to everybody. You know, everybody ain't gonna applaud for you. Everybody ain't gonna cheer for you. Everybody ain't gonna motivate you into being unapologetically yourself. You know, but why have you chose to be here? That's only something that you could decide for you. Maybe others decided it. Maybe others had their decisions or influences. You know, prior to us becoming adults. Because I don't think I'm talking to no children. But I did say, you know, it's a lot of grown-ups that ain't grown up, even though I ain't said it in that way. But I'm sure I'm not talking to no children. But what are we doing with it? You know, because we have to choose. Whether we know we chose to be here or not. You know, we got a choice, and we had a choice. That's why if you're familiar with soul contracts, you know, it's a thing, you know. But how many of us had to remember the soul contract we signed prior to becoming into a physical embodiment through this spacesuit that we call flesh? That's why I present the type of things that I do, because it takes us beyond the surface, beyond this third dimension. You know, a lot of the questions that I present are not third dimensional questions. You know, they 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th density questions that you really have to go into yourself and analyze yourself and know yourself, you know, from those analyzations and observations, you know, from a space that this third dimensional reality is not going to afford you the opportunity. So shadow work is important. You know, what wisdom have you accumulated to integrate all aspects of yourself through this soul contract that you have agreed to by being here? Because if you're here, you agreed to a soul contract, whether you know that or not. You see, how does your truth spread into everything that you do and everyone that you come into contact with? Not the truth that you was told to believe, you know, not the truth that you have chose to believe, but the truth that you know yourself to be as a spirit, as a soul, and as a heartbeat. How does your truth spread into everything you do and everyone you come into contact with? Are you outgrowing old ways of beings? Are you outgrowing old ways of being? Because really, to answer the previous question, we have to be outgrew and shed a lot of things. We gotta shed to grow. We can't stay the same. We can't stay the same, man. And we hear it all the time. The only change is constant. So if the only change is constant, that means we ain't got no business staying the same. We ain't got no business still saying, this me, this, you know, yeah, I don't said it before. and I don't say it a lot, like I don't say a lot of things before. But I'm glad I ain't stay in that same space when I don't said it before. I'm glad I ain't stay in that same space to stay the same person that I used to be, even though I'm the same person, but I ain't the same person that I used to be. If you don't listen, you gonna miss it. You hear me? So what are we doing with this opportunity? What are we doing with this opportunity? You know, if you had the opportunity to come back, how would you come back? Cause some of us might come back and be a rock. Ain't even or worse. And ain't none. And I ain't saying it being a rock is worse, but I'm saying who don't want to come back as a human unless you're going on to higher realms. You don't want to come. You don't want to come. If you got to come back, you don't want to come back being nothing less than a human being. You hear me? Because a human being is the way we get to work it out. Work out all that karmic dysfunction. You hear me? Through the human being. Through the human being. You know? The human being has dominion. Has free will. You know, like I say, like my shirt say, we created this obstacle course. It's on us to get out. And willpower play a part of that. So we better use this opportunity that we gave ourselves to be given the opportunity, you know, the best that we got to make of this opportunity. You hear me? You know. So we can we can return, you know, to source in a higher and a better elevated state than what we descended into and had to descend through or go through, you know what I'm saying, in order to have to work out the things that we here to work out and go through the phases that we have to go through, you know, before we phase out. You know, it's important. You hear me? It's important. Yeah, it's important because suffering don't come from the bad or negative things that happen to us. Contrary to popular belief, suffering does not come from the bad or negative things that happen to us. In most cases, the suffering comes from because we carry that shit. we choose to continue to carry that shit. You know, was the pain real? Yes, but it's the story built around. It's the stories built around the pain that we continue to tell ourselves it's the stories that we continue to tell ourselves built around the pain or built around the experiences that we continue to tell ourselves that keep us trapped, that keep us in a place of suffering. But if you take a moment to reflect on your life, you know, or anytime we take a moment to reflect on our life, we'll realize or come to the conclusion that it was not the happy experiences that shaped us the most. I repeat, the happy experiences don't shape us the most. And some of y'all don't heard me say it before. Most of the happy experiences we don't gain any lessons from. And many of us, unless you have started to exercise gratitude daily, thankfulness, appreciation in your life daily, don't even be grateful, thankful, or appreciative for the happy experiences. To know how to make the most out of, you know, when we're going through not so happy things, not so comfortable things. You hear me? But it was not the happy experiences that shaped us the most. It was the struggles. It was the challenges. It was those hard times. It was those times when we was on the edge, about to lose our damn mind, that we found the strength to push forward. It's those times that gave us the opportunity to be better than we never been. When we ain't even when we didn't know how we was gonna get through, that got us through. That's where the real transformation occurred. And mine too. You see? And mine too. You know, every circumstance, every experience, every situation, every interaction is a mirror reflecting the connection that we have with and within ourselves, regardless of who we share it with, that give us the opportunity to embrace or heal an aspect of ourselves, and not the interaction, and not the interaction giving us the experience. In other words, every person we come into contact with represents a part of ourselves to some extent or the other that serves as an initiation for us to become aware of the relationship that we have with and within ourselves. And if you know or comprehend the law of one, or know the deeper meaning of the teachings, a lot of the ascended masters that came here, I'll just say it like that, whether they was fictional or true and living people, you will understand or understand exactly what I mean, or exactly what I'm saying. Because it may have nothing to do with you, and vibration it according to what's going on beneath the surface, or what's physically seen, or how we're attempting to appear to be seen. It's all about the energy. It's more about the energy than about you and me. I'm going to say it again. It's more about the energy in you and me, or say it another way. It's more about the energy within you and me than it is about the you and me that we see when we're looking from the surface. You hear me? So pay attention and watch your actions as well as the actions of others. But don't be quantum jumping back to the past if you're trying to go back to the future. You hear me? I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody did. And I ain't come to stay long. I just came to be strong. You hear me? And as I said earlier, if you come through this building and haven't subscribed, what you waiting for? If you come through this building and haven't hit the like button, what you waiting for? Are you a hater? You hear me? And I say that in love. You hear me? I say that in love. I say that in compassion, and I say that in patience. You hear me? And I say that in trust. Cause for those who here to be right, you're gonna do right. You hear me? Everybody else, I know what part you play. But anything else want to come through? Yeah. I just came to radiate a quiet strength that speak louder than I do, because I walk through my darkness every day to be my own light, And with that being said, I'll leave us with this. Your story is uniquely yours, but how you use it is entirely up to you, And pain will either define you or refine you. But pain is not a punishment. It's a portal. It's a portal that you can use to transform your pain into power. Like I say, I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody did. And when you do, you'll know that it was for you. With that, stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness. You hear me? Keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. When you go through your darkest days alone and still come out with your mind, heart, and soul intact. Don't let this world or the people, places, and things in it trick you out of your position. You hear me? If you know what it feels like to have peace in your life, Ain't no price worth the amount of that peace being for purchase. You know, when you could turn back the hands of time, if only in your own mind, if only in your own mind, and still not be willing to change nothing. You here for a bigger purpose than everything you had to live through and everything you had to go through to get to that space in yourself. Make it count. You hear me? We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, you know. But if you don't use them to become a better you, to be better than you never been, then your mistakes have used you. You know. So use your pain to change, not find excuses to stay the same. Because that's what transformation all about, you know. And that's what transmutation is when it comes to soul alchemy. With that, feel good for no reason at all. Thanks for the likes, shares, comments, questions, love, offerings, donations, so forth and so on. Remember, All-Star Weekend and a week and some change. You hear me? June 28th, Stone Mountain, Georgia. You know, BLB Square. You heard? And until we do it again, I'm known as Sawu. Be you how you be you. I love y'all, family. Peace to the Common Conscience family and Soul Tribe new subscribers. I appreciate y'all. You hear me? Welcome to the family. Peekaboos and passerbys. Appreciate y'all too. Peace.